Greg Bedard also on BST last night saying Drake Maye not even ready to back up. So that's where it is right now, which feels to me like a development. Or at least we have some idea, early indication of where he's at. And this is coming off of the Sunday practice and the Monday practice, which were bad. He was bad on Sunday and then worse on Monday. And Monday was the first full padded practice. Today was the second full padded practice. So did he bounce back? How is he today? Let's go down to Gillette Stadium now and Foxborough. We're joined by Alex Barth here from 98.5 The Sports Hub. All right, Barthy, how do you look today?
Yeah, it was another rough day. I don't know that he was quite as bad as he was yesterday, but still a little erratic. Multiple misses. Most of them are long. He's overthrowing a lot. Not a ton of underthrows, but another day you played that cut coming back where you look at it and you say, let's just talk about week one. He's a ways away from being able to say, yeah, he should be the guy going into week one.
What is it specifically? Is he sped up? Is that why he's overthrowing guys? Is it the footwork? Like, what's the most glaring thing in watching him that you and others have been like, ooh, that don't look good?
Yeah, that's kind of the big question. Again, he's just erratic. It's the accuracy, but it's not a mechanics thing. I just think it's all a little fast for him right now. So not sped up in the way we talked about Mac Jones being sped up because he's sensing pressure and he's rushing everything. I think it's just he's taking in a lot of information. And look, this is the NFL. This isn't the ACC. The defense is moving a lot faster. It's more complex than what we saw in college. And when we talked about in the spring, Drake Maye maybe having to wait a little bit to get in there, this is what we talked about. We know he has all the physical tools. And even as he struggled, those have been on display. But those tools are only going to go as far as he can understand what he's looking at and manipulate the defense. So I think just getting used to reading and reacting and doing it at the speed he needs to do, there's some growing pains with that right now.
Alex Barth joining us from a real windy Gillette Stadium.
Very windy. I apologize for that.
Jesus, where can we put you? Can we do something?
We have Jim Louth holding the camera up so it doesn't fall over. That's how windy it is.
Louthie's lost some weight. I used to be able to just pop him in front of you, and he blocked the wind. But, Alex, so listen, I don't mean to compare Drake Maye to Mac Jones. I only bring up Mac Jones because, well, we're in this phase where we are relying on the reporters who are down there every day for their first early impression. And so I just equate it to the first week of Mac Jones where you guys were down there and you came out of those early practices and said, this guy's kind of NFL ready. He has a lot of the traits that you're looking for to go out and play immediately. And you guys said immediately, he looks like more of an NFL quarterback than Cam Newton. And you said that from day one. And so I started to pick up the last couple days that I'm definitely not hearing the same thing about Drake Maye. And it's just sort of, that first impression didn't mean anything now in the long run. So there was a good first impression of Mac Jones, and he ended up epically sucking. So the fact that the first early impression of Drake Maye doesn't mean, it could mean just the opposite, like it meant just the opposite for Mac Jones. But the first early impression, Alex, is not someone who's ready to play right now.
No, it's not. But just to contrast the two situations, part of the reason we were so impressed with Mac Jones, and it was a little bit until we got there, but the mental side, all these things I'm talking about with Drake Maye, the processing and all that was there, and that's the stuff that's usually hard to teach. But he also, the physical tools aren't going to grow a ton, right? That kind of is what it is. So this is the opposite, where the stuff that you can't teach, he's throwing the ball far, he's throwing on the run, the ball has good zip on it, all of that. Now he's just got to see more football, and that to me is the big difference. The other difference too, I think, in some of the narrative is Cam Newton was fine at the start of that camp. Jacoby Brissett's had a pretty good start here. He's been better than I expected, and that gap is wider than we expected, but I don't think that's just because of Drake Maye's performance.
So let me ask you this. Is this solely about Drake Maye, these struggles? In other words, is the coaching staff maybe responsible for what this looks like because Alex Van Pelt is forcing Drake Maye into an offense that's not tailored to his strengths?
I wouldn't say that, but I do think, the offensive line in front of him, there's growing pains there too. He's been under pressure a ton. Some of his better throws have been dropped. The pick he threw yesterday, as much as he struggled yesterday, the pick wasn't one of his worst throws. I don't mean that in that he was that bad. I mean that in, it was a tough play by Mitchell Wilcox, a reserve tight end who probably could have fought for the ball more and boxed out Kyle Duggar. So there's everybody around him is kind of struggling too, and it's making life that much harder for him.
Do you think they're putting him in a position to succeed?
let's see, if they start forcing him out there when he's still trying to figure these things out, then no. Like, he's going to have to figure this out, and the reality is Jacoby Brissett needs reps with the starters. They can't all go to Drake Maye. But if he doesn't figure this out and they still kind of force him along the progression without allowing his progress to dictate the timeline, then that's where it would get a little scary.
Alex, be honest. Are you surprised he's this far away? Are most people surprised he's this far away? I'm
a little. It's opened my eyes a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm like shocked, but I thought we'd see more of a jump today. I thought I was hoping for more of a bounce back today, because that's the one thing we've heard a lot about him, is like mentally he short memory and he's very competitive and all that. I was surprised at the lack of bounce back today.
Alex, can I just ask real quick? We just heard Greg Bedard say that at this point he's not even the backup. Is there a precedent for this? And I haven't studied every third overall pick in quarterback in the NFL history, but for the third overall pick to not even win the backup role, is that a really bad sign if it comes to that? If he can't beat out a Bailey Zappi, when should I get concerned?
So for what it's worth, I do think he's been about the same or better than Bailey Zappi. Joe Milton's actually been sneaky good here, but some of that's going to come down to usage, and we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago, Mike, when I was on with you, that do they make him the backup, even if he is the second best quarterback by the end? Do they want to put him in the game if he's not still NFL ready? Because he can be the second best quarterback and still not be NFL ready. So there's been times where teams have protected draft picks where maybe the guy was like on paper the second best quarterback, but they still didn't make him the backup. If that's the case, that's, to the last question, putting him in a good position, because you're making sure he's not on the field before he's ready. If we come out of camp and he looks like the third quarterback, that would be jarring. That's not a common thing you see with a guy picked that high as a rookie.
Alex Barth joins us from Gillette Stadium, where suddenly, magically, is Louthie holding up like a tarp or something? You got like, what's going on?
He made the wind
It just
go
died
away.
down in a second. So
That is bizarre. Alex, what's the latest on Matthew Judon? What do you know?
He wasn't out here today. I wasn't very surprised by that. There's not a ton. I think pretty much what's out there is what I've heard, that the contract issues are real. You saw that yesterday. I subscribe to the theory, at least partially, that Greg Bedard floated yesterday on Twitter, that Drew Rosenhaus has been down here. He was here again today. He's Devon Godshaw's agent. Godshaw was the second to last guy waiting for a contract with Judon. If he gets paid, did Judon see that and say, well, you got everybody else, where's mine? And maybe that's just raised that level of frustration.
What do you think happens there? What should they do?
I think they should pay him. If they knew they weren't going to pay him, they should have traded him in March, because he had real value back then. I'm talking about potentially a top 100 draft pick in a good draft class. If they're serious about competing this year, they're a better team with him on the roster. And before yesterday, it felt like even if you can just get a Band-Aid on it to get through this year and then both sides go their separate ways, that might be what's best for everybody. But at this point, like, I don't know what
Alex, I'm sorry to cut you. How could you reward him after how he carried on yesterday?
So after yesterday, that's changed. After yesterday, I don't know what that path back looks like. And look, they're getting paid a lot of money to figure these kind of things out, right? And maybe they can come up with something I can't. But I think, not having him out here today was the right call. Off day tomorrow, reset the temperature. But if he's not out here on Thursday, that's a pretty strong sign of where things are right now.
Okay, Alex, before we let you go, what should we feel good about with this team?
Yeah, I was going to say, has anything good happened?
So, again, Jacoby Brissett has been good. Like, I've liked what I've seen from him, and the way he's worked with the tight end, specifically attacking the middle of the field. You're also starting to see, and I'm going to be very careful here because it's just 2 days in, the offensive line's making some progress. And he had a pocket, and he had time to throw today. So what he does distributing the football, we'll see. But as much as we've talked about Drake Maye, and I feel like the offense, when we talk about that in camp, has meant Drake Maye because he's the third overall pick, and that's where the attention is. That top offense, they've been solid. Nothing mind-blowing, but they've been solid the first 2 days of pads.
Thanks, Alex. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Okay, take care.
See, guys, here's a plate of crap. I'm telling you, it's delicious. Try it. That's what I hear when Jacoby Brissett, he's looked real good. That does nothing for me. Nothing.
But it does something for you.
Here's what you should feel good about, Jacoby Brissett. And it does do something for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'll take it. I don't feel bad about that.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.